All right, back live on the Niner. You know, around this time of year, Crystal, a lot of people start to focus on their nutrition and health goals, right?
Yeah, it's a good time to like reset, you
Yeah.
know. But the choices you make around food may be based on outdated advice. So joining us this morning to bust some nutrition myths is gastroenterologist Dr. Kelsey Able. Good morning, Dr. Able. Happy to have you here.
Doctor, good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're talking about fresh fruits and vegetables first. You know, are they healthier being fresh or canned or frozen? I mean, what should people reach for when they're looking to add veggies and fruits to their diets?
I think the important thing is realizing what fits within your budget and what you can get. And so all of us know that fresh is best-ish. So frozen is a great opportunity that's a little bit nicer on your budget. And remember that when fruits and veggies are harvested or picked, they actually freeze them almost instantaneously. So that protects the nutrients that we have. And so if that maybe works a little bit better to go to the frozen food aisle instead of, you know, to the fresh produce area, if that's really hurting your wallet, that is actually nearly the same amount of quality.
Oh, that is great to know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really good to know because shopping around the outside of the store is really getting expensive these days.
Yes. Well, and then when you buy the fresh vegetables, you still have to cut it, mince it, you know, whatever. There's a whole process. So maybe just getting it already frozen is better even just for time purposes.
All right, let's talk about fats, all right? Lots of different kinds of fats. What's the good fat? What's the bad fat? What's the full story here, doctor?
Oh, gosh, I could do like a 2-hour lecture on this. But, you know, we think about the polysaturated fats, the saturated versus unsaturated. So animal products, that's pretty easy, right? We think about full-fat butter, animal products, especially like beef and pork. Those are those saturated fats. And so we want to have a limited amount of saturated fats in our diet. Now, the other things that we think about, the healthier fats, right? Some of the nuts and seed oils that we talk through. We were talking a little bit offline about, you know, coconut. Coconut can be a little bit of both depending on, but we really have to think about amounts. So smaller amounts of those saturated fats, and we want those unsaturated fats to shine. And that's when we think about cholesterol. You know, the risk of heart disease in America is tremendous. And so even making these dietary changes can be as good as a statin medicine, which is amazing. And so if we make those choices, it can really pay dividends for our lifetime.
Yeah.
And so like nuts and avocados, I'm sure
some seed oils like avocado oil, right?
Exactly.
Like that stuff,
Extra virgin olive oil is a hero. So I spend a lot of time in my clinic talking about the Mediterranean diet. And really, diet is not what we want. We want small, everyday changes and habits. So anytime you follow a diet, you're sure to fail because it's too hard. It's really hard to do that.
It's all about making that lifestyle change. And speaking about that too, weight management, you know, why is it more complicated than just counting calories?
Oh, gosh, I feel so sorry. A lot of my patients just kind of get shamed, you know, truly. If it were calories in, calories out, we wouldn't have the obesity epidemic. Right? Some of this is genetics. Some of this is the way that we can burn those fats. And so when we talk about the saturated versus unsaturated, that changes the way that our body can burn that energy. And so it's so multifactorial. I mean, we've had a moment, right, with some of the medicines y'all have heard about, the GLP-1s, the injectable, and now we're having some oral pills. The approvals for these medicines for other types of things just keeps going. So for us in the liver clinic, as I do liver medicine as well, we're seeing it for what's called MASH or steatosis, which just means fatty liver. We don't like saying fatty liver. It seems kind of yucky.
I know, right?
But that's what people know it as. And so we've seen that this can be very helpful for these patients to keep them away from having things like cirrhosis. That's how serious extra weight can be. It can affect how well our liver functions even.
Wow. All right, looks like we are out of time, but I'm telling you, we could go on.
I know. I'm like, tell me everything. What else?
You know,
GI is very interesting. There's so many different things.
So I want to close with one thing real quick here. So do you tell patients sometimes it's not reducing the intake of food that you have in order to lose weight, but it's eating the right food more frequently in order to lose that weight? Does that sound right? Does that sound right?
Quality. So it's quality over quantity. but also we're not meant to necessarily eat 3 big meals a day. And, you know, none of us are going to starve for the most part.
Right.
And so kind of those food hunger cues are a big part of this too. If you're hungry, eat. If you're not, it's okay, depending on, you know, what your medical issues are and what your doc says.
Right. And sometimes I always drink like a glass of water before just to see, am I hungry or am I thirsty? When's the last time I had some water?
Exactly.
I could probably use some right about now.
Exactly. And I cannot underrepresent our registered dietitians. That's a whole area of nutritional expertise. We really lean on them. We really appreciate them. So they're part of my practice, and I keep them fairly busy with asking them for help.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Able, if someone wants to get in touch with your team, you know, how can they do so? Where can they find you?
Absolutely. So I work at Consultants in Gastroenterology. We cover the Northland. Right now, our inpatient work is at Liberty Hospital, which is part of the KU Health System. And we have a pretty big group. We do general GI, and if you need a colonoscopy, 45 is the new 50, so come visit with us.
I like it.
Dr. Able, look forward to chatting with you again. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
So much.
Appreciate you all.